Your Creative Force by Avianne is currently available on Global Voice Radio.
Talent is a flame. Genius is a fire. Broadcasting from the San Francisco Bay Area, the all-new all-hit show on creativity. Hosted by international award-winning artist and entrepreneur, Avianne. You're listening to Your Creative Force. And now here's your host, Avianne.
Hi there. As always, this is Avianne coming to you from the San Francisco Bay Area in California. We are having a wonderful day here today, and I am really excited to jump into today's show with you on Your Creative Force. And today is episode 17. Our show theme for today is wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing. I had a really hard time editing our content for today's show because this is such a loaded theme. Wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing. There is so much I can share with you guys around these four aspects or elements of building and maintaining a business in a sustainable way. The things that I usually try and discuss with you guys have to do with the fact that we often overlook things that seem obvious, but because they seem obvious, we tend to not always pay them as much attention as we should, which is why I decided I want to go a little deeper into wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing, because I feel these four things aren't always mentioned or really discussed, or at best they're kind of brushed over as part of other topics when we talk about building a business and sustaining a business in a sustainable way. But these are actually very important parts of how we are, in fact, able to achieve our dreams. If we don't have wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing, if we don't know how to apply these in a good and optimal way to build and sustain our business, we often find ourselves making choices that are less than optimal. We often find ourselves at the mercy of things that we could have prevented if we just paid closer attention. So in episode 17 today, I really want to take a hard look at and bust some myths about how wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing play into making solid business decisions and building a business for the long haul. A lot of people forget this along the way. They live so much in the moment, or they're so focused on their goal that they want to achieve that they forget about the fact that we're actually in this for the long haul. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And then we need to realize that along the way, we have to pay very close attention to these things. We can't drop the ball on the basics. And to me, wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing, they're kind of part of the basics. They're kind of like a building block, like a foundational stone in what we are trying to build. Okay, so we want to make solid decisions for the long haul, and businesses often fail because they miss this very critical aspect of building a business, not considering the fact that timing, skills, knowledge, and wisdom really do matter, and they matter a lot. There is no golden recipe. You have to understand this through every show I've presented so far, plan to present in future. I'm not trying to sit here and giving you the golden recipe. If anyone sits in front of you and tells you they have figured out the golden recipe, please call me or email me and let me know, because I would love to know what the golden recipe is. There is no such thing, because every business is different. Every business owner is wired differently. We all have a unique journey that we're on. So I really do not believe that there is such a thing as a golden rule that just applies to everyone, right? Our stories are unique. Our creative force, it's completely unique to each of us. And we need to delve into that uniqueness, tap into our own unique treasures to make our journey optimal and functional. And it isn't going to look exactly the same for every person. Okay, so there is no golden recipe, but there are many simple ways in which using wisdom and being able to identify the right timing for things that we are actually skilled at and knowledgeable about can increase our chances at success. Entrepreneurs, in my experience, often tend to either overthink or what I would call underthink building a business, which leads to them missing the bigger picture or the simple applications, behaviors, or practices that can truly increase their chances at success. We overthink when we go into paralysis analysis, something we've discussed in our show before, and we underthink when we go by our emotions or by the seat of our pants and we're not really looking at the facts. We're not really applying logic and rational, realistic thinking, but we're kind of just going as we see fit without really taking a closer look at very important aspects of what we are doing, right? So we don't want to overthink and we don't want to underthink, okay? If we can learn to apply wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing, I think that will really safeguard us against this tendency as entrepreneurs to either overthink a situation or underthink it and just jump straight in, right? So in part 1 of our show, which is what we're doing now, which is what we're busy with exploring now, is part 1 of our show. We want to look at what do we mean when we refer to wisdom and timing in building a business. And then we want to start busting some of these myths, right, about building a business that has to do with our theme today. Okay, so first of all, what do we mean when we refer to wisdom and timing in building a business? Well, to me, these are my definitions, okay? And I'm trying to summarize them in a nutshell because this topic is so intense. I really try to edit it down to an absolute nutshell. You can just grab this and go and use this as you see fit in your journey kind of way, right? So here we go. Are you ready? Wisdom is the ability to know what to do and when to do it, along with what not to do and when not to do it. It is not as complicated as we tend to make it, but it requires practice. You don't need to be super experienced or super mature to start applying wisdom. You can start by applying common sense, right? You know that you should probably not take a $300,000 business loan if you're not even sure of a very solid business strategy, right? There's logical things, there's easy common sense kind of things where you can start building your wisdom. As you get more experienced in your business, as you get further along, as you network more and have more mentors and more coaches help you, you will increase in wisdom. That is why you shouldn't be an island unto yourself. You should always learn from others and remain teachable, because teachability is part of how you build wisdom, right? There are other people who have been where you are at. I myself, I look at people who are much further along in their business journey and I learn from them. I ask them lots of questions. I ask them to train me and teach me and help me develop my own skills, my own knowledge, and my own wisdom in my business, right? I don't come at it from an angle where I think I know everything. And you'll be surprised sometimes who can teach you things, right? Sometimes it's not even a business person who can teach you something. Sometimes it's just some really simple old school value that if you apply it, like take your time, right? That would be an old school value. And it can be very, very critical for you to apply the common sense, the things that have already been built into you by your mom, maybe. Maybe your mom is someone who really taught you self-discipline. That's a fantastic quality and a very wise way of doing business is to have self-discipline. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not that you need to be super advanced, super experienced, and super mature, but wisdom does increase with practice. We do know that. So you have to practice it, right? You have to start somewhere. Building wisdom takes time, and it goes along with developing a strong instinct and intuition to be able to discern our choices in our business rationally and objectively. Wisdom requires a level of maturity and patience that can be hard for us when we are young or new in the game, but it is completely possible to attain wisdom and increase in wisdom as we go. You start with what you have and you build from there. You are not going to ever come into a business as a total rookie in the sense that you will have some kind of life experience, some kind of common sense, some kind of logic, some kind of circle at your disposal of people who can help you and qualities that can help you succeed, right? You're not coming out of it from nowhere. It's not like you're a 2-year-old trying to build a business, right? You actually have experience. Even if you're 18, even if you're 20, you do have some level of character building and life experience to draw from. So don't think that if you're young or new at the business game that you don't have anything to draw from. You do have wisdom. You just have to go deep into your creative force, dig into those treasures, and let that wisdom speak to you, right? That's why it's so important to be in tune with ourselves. Then knowledge. Knowledge is what you know about what you are doing, while wisdom has to do with how you apply the knowledge, right? Knowledge and wisdom are best buddies. You cannot really apply wisdom to things if you don't have good knowledge backing that up. But your knowledge is not going to really serve you well. You see, when I was in university, we had a professor that kept saying knowledge is power, knowledge and power is power. And one day I stood up and I said to him in class in front of everyone, I don't think knowledge in itself is power, because knowledge in itself, without wisdom to apply it efficiently, effectively, and advantageously in your life, that knowledge is not going to help you, right? That knowledge is not going to do anything for you if you don't develop some skills in wisdom to actually apply that knowledge in an optimal way, right? So knowledge means that you gather the actual data. You research people and opportunities. You work hard to know as much about your industry and profession as possible, so you may decide how to build your dreams forward based on facts and not emotions. Okay. Just a quick side note here. You do need your emotions in business to a degree, because your emotions are what is derived from your passion, your will to succeed, your absolute relentless fighting spirit. Those things all have to do with your emotion. You do need good, solid, strong, passionate emotion to keep you going, right? Especially when times are tough. But what you do not want to do is be ruled by your emotions instead of your wisdom, instead of your knowledge, when it comes to actually making critical business decisions. Your emotions are there to serve you and to lift up your process and your journey, but they are not there to rule you. I just want to make that distinction. I think we've touched on that in previous episodes. So then moving on to timing. Timing is closely dependent on our wisdom. Okay? You gathered the knowledge, you're applying the wisdom. Now you have to consider timing. Timing is knowing when to execute a very important business decision or move at the right time. When to move on an opportunity, right? When to expand, when to stay the course, when to alter the course. If we do not know how to apply good timing along with wisdom and knowledge, we are at great risk of others taking advantage of us or biting off a lot more than we can chew way too soon. When we're busting some myths later in our show today, we are going to look at this in more depth. But timing is critical. I'm not going to get into busting some myths around timing, but if you've ever had someone tell you that timing is like you never have the perfect time and stuff. We're going to look at that because there's a problematic thing around that. So when we get to a later part of our show and we're busting some myths, we're going to really bust some myths about the timing thing, right? When is it the right time? Is it the right time? Is there such a thing as the right time? We're going to look at that in a little more depth later in our show today. Then we get to skills. Skills are the things you are fairly or exceptionally good at. Skills can be learned, okay? Nobody is born with skills, okay? Even if you are optimized genetically for a certain profession, you have a tendency, you have a propensity for a certain profession, and you have genetically like a great perfect pitch, right? So you can be a fantastic musician because you have perfect pitch, which is very rare, by the way. You're still going to have to sit down and learn the skills to actually make music, right? You're not born with skills. Skills can be social skills. Skills can be physical skills. For me as an artist, first and foremost, my artistic skills are very important. I try and learn many different ways of doing art, many different mediums, so that my toolbox of skills can really be full, so that I have a lot that I can bring to the table that other artists may lack, and that is giving me a cutting edge in my industry. I have a very wide array of artistic skill, right? So skills are those things that you are fairly or exceptionally good at and that you build over time. Plain and simple, it is what you can count as your strengths, those things you generally and naturally lean toward being better at than most in your industry, and those skills that you keep on building, right? Skills are not static. They are an aspect of you as a business person that you continuously have to build, right? They're part of your professional development. And I think one of the things people don't realize is that skills are not only very critical to you as a business person in giving you a cutting edge, potentially even over your competition, but skills are not a static thing. They're not static. They need to be constantly developed, because if you do not constantly develop your skills, you will stagnate, and stagnation is a death blow to any business person. The world is changing so fast. Technology is developing at such a rapid pace that if we don't, to some degree, keep our skills on track, we can very soon find ourselves outdated in our skills, right? We can very soon find ourselves not being able to compete because our skills are just really way behind that of other people. Okay, so then in conclusion, defining these 4 elements, wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing, they are in fact the 4 business skills that we cannot be successful without. And yet we are often not taught or mentored to have great wisdom, good enough skills, excellent timing, and sufficient knowledge about what we're doing. It seems these days to me sometimes that any person can jump on the internet and start a business. And in one sense, it's true. Anyone has the internet and the tools and everything they need to do that at their disposal. But I feel there is a place for wisdom, skills, and knowledge where people try and skim those things. They try and fake those things. And because they don't really know those things and they don't really go deep after and hard after timing and knowledge and wisdom and skills, they sometimes don't succeed because they don't understand how those things fit into the long journey, the long haul, right? A business is a marathon and not a sprint, and we're definitely going to look at busting some myths about that. So now that we've got that under our belts, we're going to look at a few myths about wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing. Okay? We're going to start this in part 1, and then we're going to conclude some of this in part 2. So before we conclude part 1 for today, let's look at busting a few myths. Okay? There are a lot of myths surrounding that. Okay? I have often heard business people say that it is never the right time to build a business, and we should just act now instead of waiting or making excuses. The reason they say that is because a lot of people with entrepreneurial dreams think that they should have perfect timing and everything falling perfectly in place before attempting to build a business. And that this perfect timing will mean that everything in their lives will just naturally fall into place and create the perfect scenario for them to build their dreams flawlessly without any problems, without any obstacles. Okay? So before we bust some myths, I want you to know this is not at all what we're talking about. Okay? If you think that there will ever be the perfect time, the perfect circumstances for you to build your business, you will never build it. There is truth to that. Because there's always something that's going to happen, right? The kid is going to get sick. The dog is going to die. The husband is going to lose his job. Something is always going to come up. Some crisis, some family situation, or you're going to not have the money immediately. There's always going to be something. So there is truth to the fact that your life is never going to be in that perfect place. And if you are waiting, if you are sitting back and you're waiting on building your dreams because you think that one day magically your life is going to just be so perfect that everything is going to work in favor of you building your dreams and you won't face any obstacles, I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but that's not true. I can tell you from my own life that sometimes during the most difficult circumstances in my personal life, I actually took that as fuel to fuel me into sustaining and even expanding my business, because I knew that if I allow my personal circumstances to dictate what I do in my business all the time, my growth will just be super slow and I probably won't get anywhere. So in a way, you are always, and this is like something you need to remember before we start busting these myths, you are always going to have to be willing to do some things afraid or without the perfect circumstances. So keep that in the back of your mind as we're busting some myths. Let's start by busting 3 myths before we end part 1 of our show today. The first myth is what we were just kind of hinting at, right? There will one day be a perfect time to start your business. This is a myth and I want to bust it because the time or circumstances will never be perfect to start. There is truth to that. I have never met any business owner whose life fell perfectly into place before they started their business. So we need to understand that when we speak about timing, we are not referring to some magical time when your life will be perfectly in line or sorted out for you to start or maintain your business. The stars, in fact, do not align on their own for starting a business. You need to work with a plan, right? You can't just wait for a magical moment. You actually have to work at a plan and start with some small, easy, doable steps. Otherwise, you will always have some kind of excuse not to start. So if you believe the myth that there will one day be a perfect time to start your business, the result of you believing in that myth will ultimately be that you will always have some kind of excuse not to start. Okay? That is very important. So let's move on to myth number 2. Myth number 2 is you should just close your eyes and take a leap. That is not smart either, okay? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. What I just mentioned does not at all mean that you should just blindly follow your dreams. You shouldn't, okay? Just because you shouldn't wait for the perfect time, myth 1, that we just busted, right, to start your business, doesn't mean that you should just blindly leap into things. That is not smart either, okay? For instance, this happens a lot to people when they know that they want to be entrepreneurial. They know that they have some kind of entrepreneurial inclination and they want to become an entrepreneur. But because they don't have a very specific field of expertise or they don't have a very specific expectation or desire or plan to become an entrepreneur, they kind of just try and take any opportunity that comes their way, and they kind of just leap blindly into different kinds of opportunities. That is not a very smart and a very wise and a very knowledgeable way to go about it either, right? You need some kind of a plan or plans, a financial plan, a business plan, starting in small doable steps, right? You may not be able to start a full-blown international corporation right away. That takes some real wiring and some real hard work and some real crazy investments and stuff to start an international corporation. But you are probably in a good position to start a home-based business, and you can always build that business into a multinational corporation. Think of the fact that Apple, Microsoft, a lot of these companies started with kids having a dream in their parents' garage, right? A lot of them didn't start out being this massive corporation. They started simple. They started in a place where they could keep their overheads down. So yes, you shouldn't just close your eyes and take a blind leap into the unknown. That is not always a very smart thing either. You have to work with a plan. Maybe you have to make sure that your skills are up to date. You have to have doable steps. Save up a bit of cash before you get right into it. Maybe you first need to finish your studies. Pay off some debt, right? Things like that are surely to be considered. Don't just throw your whole life out of the bath, right? Don't throw the baby out of the bathwater. Really think these things through, because you are going to pay a price and you are going to face consequences, and it's good to go into things sober. I'm not saying that these things should hold you back if the timing is right. Right? The timing. But I am saying think about it, because your steps, how you go about it, will definitely impact your life. Okay? What you do to set yourself up for success even before you start is not making excuses, but it is actually a critical part of the wisdom of timing. So don't let people fool you into believing that you're just making excuses when you're really being serious about these things. There is wisdom in taking a very sober, realistic look at what you need to put in place in your life to make it possible for you to succeed in your business without thinking that you're just magically going to have the perfect time, right? So those are the first two myths. Then myth number 3 that we want to bust is that you must do everything right now. Not true. Not at all. If you attend business seminars or participate in webinars, you will know that often a lot of coaches or businesses use a strategy of buy our service right now or you will never get a deal this great again. Be wise. Don't be emotionally triggered into buying things that are not the things you need right now. Okay? Be careful. Okay? Don't hurry into things because they emotionally excite you or paint a picture for you of where you want to be someday. Yes, we know that someday you want $100K a year in income or $1 million in income a year. We do know that. Okay. We know that's where you want to go, but you may not be at a place right now where you can just make a leap from where you're right now straight into that. You may need to walk a little bit of a journey to get there. Okay. So don't let people fool you into thinking that your long-term goals must all of them must be achieved right now and you have to buy their product or their service right now to help you achieve it. Be careful of that kind of thing. Okay. Determine first if it is really your time to go after it. Also, you cannot really, in general, do risky things based on poor knowledge. You have to do your homework as much as possible on people and opportunities before jumping in. Knowledge is power, okay? You have to remember that whenever you decide to pursue an opportunity, knowing if you should jump into it right now or in the future, or if you should just put it on ice altogether, that is power, that is knowledge, that is timing. That is wisdom. So remember that. And with that, we're going to conclude part 1 of our show today. In part 2 of our show, we will bust a few more myths and look at ways to apply wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing more optimally.
Catch the fire of creativity. Visit artbyavianne.com. Return to our show with Avianne.
And We are back with part 2 of our show today, episode 17 of Your Creative Force. The theme for today is wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing. And we are going to look at busting some more myths. We busted 3 myths about this in part 1 of our show, and we're going to bust 4 more myths, and then I will summarize the myths that we busted for you again. So, myth 4. Are you ready to roll? Are you ready to ride with me? Yes, let's go. Myth number 4. You must do things someone else's way. Absolutely not true. Do not allow any outsider to even force your timing or wisdom in any way into a direction because they pressure you into buying a product or service or want to partner with you in a way that deep down your instincts are just screaming against. I cannot tell you how often it happens that people want to partner with me in something and I actually say no. For every 20 to 30 times I say no, I may say once yes. Okay? Because I look at a whole lot of things before I decide to partner with a person. First of all, I trust my instincts about character and about the competence and the likability of a person. I need to like a person to work with them. If I don't even like someone, it's going to be hard for me to work with them. So I know that we need to what I call vibe on a certain level. So that's just one of many things I look at. But if we don't even vibe to be working together, I am definitely not partnering with you. Sometimes I don't partner with someone immediately. I take my time and check them out first. Other times I just know right from the get-go, it's going to be a major clash. This is not working for me. And I walk away. Okay. So don't let any outsider ever force you into timing or wisdom into a direction because they pressure you into buying something that you are not ready to buy. Okay. Whether that be buying into a partnership or an association or buying into a product or a service, you do not have to do that under pressure. Okay. And if people keep pushing you and pressuring you, that is usually a red light that they have a hidden agenda. So really be careful. Okay. So myth 5, this opportunity will never come again. Totally not true. If you look at most people's websites, marketing strategies, the kind of services and products they provide, sales, opportunities, deals, these things go in cycles, right? I mean, it's like a car dealership telling you they're never going to have a 4th of July car sale again or a President's Day sale again of their cars, right? They have it every year. These things recycle and recycle and recycle. So chances are that even if you don't buy it right now, like myth 4, right? Even if you don't allow someone to force you into doing it right now, okay, the opportunity will come again. So myth 5, this opportunity will never come again. Totally not true. Never act in the heat of the moment. There is no harm in thinking things through. If they really want your business and are really confident in you, they will give you time. And if they don't want to give you time on this deal, another deal from them will come along shortly. So don't feel like this opportunity is never going to come your way again. It is a marketing trick. It is not true. Okay. Wow. Am I giving away my sales tactics here? I don't know, but it's true, right? I do have sales of my heart from time to time. Maybe I have inventory that I couldn't move because it was work that didn't really sell according to the trends. And then I discount that work after a while, right? I want to sell. So I do have sales and opportunities, on a regular basis. My prices, even in my sales though, do go up regularly. So when I tell people that you're not going to get this exact deal again, I'm actually not lying to them. I'm telling them the truth because even in my sales, my prices increase progressively, right? Maybe if it's something I couldn't sell for 20 years, it's a different story, but that's very rare because my work actually sell. So you want to not be dragged into people's sales tactics and strategies and being dragged into buying things you really don't need or really don't want at prices that, you know, even if you get it at that price, it's not really something you're going to use, right? So if it isn't exactly what you need or you are not sure about the timing, but it is something you would like to do in future, I can guarantee you such deals will come around again. So don't let people pressure you. Okay. That's the main thing. Myth number 6, you can learn as you go. Okay, this is a complex myth and it's a dangerous myth because in a way it can be true for certain people in certain circumstances that they can learn as they go. And in a certain sense, we always learn as we go. Think about it. You're always going to learn as you go because as you pursue an opportunity, as you are in a certain job or a certain aspect of your family life, you're always going to learn more about raising kids. You're always going to learn more about running a business. So in a certain general universal way, yes, you are always going to learn as you go. But there's a danger to that. And here's why, okay? In a certain sense, we always learn as we go throughout life. But most of the time, you cannot do that when the stakes are really high. You cannot fly off the seat of your pants when the stakes are really high. If you suddenly jump into things without any skills or knowledge, you can quickly lose a lot of money and look totally foolish to your clients. Be very careful, okay? I know people who have lost their businesses, and I'm going to give you one example of how they did that. For instance, if you jump straight into manufacturing without having any skills or knowledge about it, you can quickly lose a lot of money, okay? And you can have no idea what that really involves. And nobody on your team, if you have nobody on your team who has at least some experiences with manufacturing, you can end up with expenses you didn't foresee. Your patents can get stolen. I know that this happened to people. They jumped into manufacturing in China without doing their research and their work got stolen, their patents got stolen. It's really bad. Your entire enterprise can blow up in your face if you don't know what you're doing with something, for instance, like manufacturing, right? Sometimes you need to just take a step back, start smaller, and do a lot of due diligence, okay? Do your research, learn some new skills, gather more knowledge, and become great at these skills and your knowledge before you just jump in. Okay. For me in my industry as an artist, I cannot tell you how careful I have to be of having my art land in the wrong hands. Okay. Because if people were to take my art and duplicate it and replicate it and sell it and make money out of it, my whole reputation can be negatively affected as a result. And with people just posting huge files of their art online, I am nervous for them because it's very possible for their work to get misused, misrepresented, and even stolen and sold for profits by third parties as a result, okay? You have to really be careful about learning as you go, being an excuse for, I don't really know what I do, I'm just going to jump into things I don't really understand. Be careful about that. Then myth number 7, you can fake it until you make it. This is also a duplicitous one because it's a dangerous statement because it depends on a lot of variables. You can certainly position yourself optimally in your market through clever branding and networking, but at the end of the day, if you cannot really bring it in terms of skills and knowledge, if you think you can fake it until you make it, people can start viewing you as a fraud and you can get into real trouble, even legal trouble because of it. Skills and knowledge are built over time from experience. So be careful. You do not want to get into legal trouble because of it, right? Be careful to bite off more than you can chew too fast. You can end up really overwhelmed and failing completely if you make promises that you cannot keep based on skills and knowledge you don't really have. So be careful of using these last 2 myths of you can learn as you go and you can fake it until you make it just as absolutes, because they have a dual sword kind of thing going on. If you think you can learn as you go and that you can fake it until you make it, but you promise people things and you put yourself out there in ways that you are not ready for, you can really harm your reputation. You can come off as a fraud. You can come off as a wise guy and not in a good way. So be careful of this. I'm quickly going to summarize the 7 myths we just busted. Okay, I'm just going to read them. Go back to part 1 of our show if you want more depth on some of these, okay? And then listen to part 2 again if you need to. So, myth 1, there will one day be a perfect time to start your business. Myth 2, you should just close your eyes and take a leap. Myth 3, you must do everything right now. Myth 4, you must do things someone else's way. Myth 5, this opportunity will never come again. Myth 6, you can learn as you go. And myth 7, you can fake it until you make it. Consider these things. Think upon them. Think about what they really mean before you just jump into believing these myths and actually cause great harm to yourself in terms of not applying wisdom, not having the right skills, not really going after true knowledge, and not being wise about having optimal timing in your decisions. Okay? With that all being said, we're going to move on, and we're going to start in part 2 and then continue in part 3 with looking at optimally applying wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing. Okay? We now kind of have a good idea what they are and how not to do it and how not to believe in these myths, right? And not just go blindly into things. So now we want to look at really how to be wise, how to optimally apply wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing. So first of all, these are 12, I've summarized 12 different ways for you. Okay. So we're going to look at the first 6 in part 2. Number 1, do not think that small beginnings and saying no to certain opportunities are bad. Start with what you have, where you are at, and create doable goals and steps for yourself to get where you ultimately want to go. You are likely not going to make a leap from being unknown in your industry to being a superstar in your industry overnight. That seldom happens. Unfortunately, those are the examples we often see in the media, and we think we go from zero to hero overnight. And I'm here to tell you that is very rare. That is maybe 1 in a million if you're lucky. Okay? So don't go by that, because that is really not the way it works in reality for 99.999% of business owners. Okay? That seldom happens. That only happens if you are extremely lucky to know the right people and have the right skills and knowledge and connections very quickly. But it isn't wise even if you do, because you can miss a lot of important warning signs or steps along the way if you build things too fast. Things that may actually indicate to you when you are taking risks that are just irresponsible and not well planned or timed may actually fall by the wayside. If you go from zero to hero very fast, right, that is why a lot of people who win the lottery actually end up losing their money, because they literally go from zero to hero in the span of 24 hours. And if you don't have the skills, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the timing to know how to handle all that, you can fall flat on your face no matter how successful you become, how quickly. So this is really something you need to realize. Do not think that small beginnings and saying no to certain opportunities are bad, okay? Don't try and chase your dreams so hard and so fast that you're actually being foolish about it, okay? So, really plan and time utilizing your opportunities. Take the ones that suit you when they suit you. Let the rest go. You cannot be everything to everyone, and you shouldn't say yes. You definitely shouldn't say yes to everything and everyone. Say yes to what aligns with your strategy and specific goals, and recognize new ideas and innovative solutions without saying yes to everything. Basically, take the opportunities that are right for you at the right time. And if new opportunities that you didn't see coming up present themselves, ask yourself if they really do fit in with your bigger picture or not. Okay? Really think about that. I say no a lot and I say yes very few times, because I know I'm one person. I know what stress I can handle, and I know about being wise about this aspect of what I do. Okay. Then number 2, take your time. Building slow and solid is often a better way to go than building fast and flimsy. Remind yourself of the story of the tortoise and the hare. I even remind my students about this story. The tortoise won the prize because he was patient diligent, and he paced himself for the long haul, right? The hare lost the prize because he was foolish, impatient, and he procrastinated while the tortoise remained steady. Okay? Think about that. There's such truth in that story when it comes to the business journey. That leads me to number 3. Remain steady. Remaining steady is very important. Keep going. Learn from mistakes. Constantly add to your skills and knowledge. Work on your weaknesses. Play your strengths. Don't procrastinate. Know your industry. Time your moves. For instance, make bigger moves when the economy is stable. Expand and hire when revenue is good, and build a nest egg for your business when you land lucrative projects. Use slower economic circumstances to brush up on skills and networking. Structure your business in such a way that you can always utilize the people you hire effectively. That whole idea of remaining steady, that is a way to sustain your business through ups and downs. People who want to run a sprint and not a marathon, they often build businesses and then their businesses tank, right? Because they're not playing the long game. Always play the long game. Remain steady. Remaining steady and unmoved to do much by outward people or circumstances because you planned ahead. That's the way to remain steady, and remaining steady is a secret. It's a secret in keeping your business going even when times are tough. Then number 4. Remember that one size never fits all. You need to know what is right for your business, and to do that, it may not be the same as what others in your industry are doing at the same time. That is okay. You have to do what works. It is your business. If you make poor decisions, you will pay for it. You do not have to please anyone else in the end, but you have to be wise about doing what works for you. I can honestly tell you, just short and sweet, I couldn't care less what other artists think of what I do and how I do it, because I know I do it differently. I know I do it outside of the box. I know I do a lot of what I do even outside of the established industry. And you know what? I'm good with it because I know what I want to do. I know where I want to go. And even if I make mistakes, I have mercy on myself. I remain steady and I just keep going forward. I do not allow other people to distract me from what I know is right for my business because somehow I develop the sense that I need to please anyone. So I really want to encourage you to remember that one size never fits all. Then that leads me to another point. Number 5, whatever you do, never procrastinate. Okay? Never stand still. Don't allow stagnation. Go slower when you need to. Pace yourself. Not everything in business moves fast all the time. You will go through plateaus or slumps at times. This happens. It's normal. But you don't want to stand still. Stagnation is the enemy of progress, and it often happens that we procrastinate in our business when we hit certain comfort zones. Comfort zones like when you hit certain financial goals or certain pinnacles in your career, certain milestones, right? It can cause you to stagnate because you can get comfortable in your comfort zones. That's your enemy. And when that happens, you need to find a way to move forward from that. Otherwise, you are going to stay in that place of stagnation. So be careful of that. Number 6, really know what is going on with the projects, clients, employees, associates that work in and for your business. You have to be hands-on without micromanaging people. You have to be able to read the needs of your people and act accordingly. Sometimes you may find yourself sharpening pencils at a meeting just so you can know what is happening there, right? Sometimes you will find yourselves attending a seminar of an associate just so you can show them support that you can bank on in the future. You have to show kindness, support, interest, genuine care, and genuine love to those who make your business work. Do not forget the people, okay? That is what I just want you to really realize. There's so much wisdom into truly taking notice and taking care of the people who are a big part of your success. Don't forget them. Don't allow them to feel like you're not seeing their contributions and that you don't appreciate them. Always make sure that you pay them well and that you treat them well, right? That is very, very important. And we will look into this more. That was the first 6 parts of how we optimally want to apply wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing in our business. And with that, we conclude part 2 of our show, and we're going to continue in part 3 of our show with some of these ways to optimally apply wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing in our businesses.
Talent is a flame. Genius is a fire. And now we return to our show with your host, Avianne.
We are back with the final part of our show today, episode 17 of Your Creative Force, and we're looking at wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing. And we're going to continue on our list of how to optimally apply wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing in your business. And we are at number 7. Number 7 is be genuine. Never play games. Don't make promises that you cannot keep. You must always have integrity. Care for real. Don't fake it. Spend time with people. Be patient with people. Know your people. It is so important. People can tell the fake from the real, usually. Sometimes they take a while to figure it out, but if people think you are a phony, you are really going to be harming your business. You must make sure that people know your intentions. They know you are real. They know you are genuine. They know that you really care. That is very important. Number 8, at the same time, have healthy boundaries. If you go back to some of our previous shows, we've spoken a lot about boundaries and integrity and all these things. So go back to that. Have healthy boundaries. Be a leader, not just a buddy. People need to know that when someone needs to step into the arena, they can count on you, that you will not throw your people to the dogs, but that you will be the alpha who fights for the pack. It is very important that people know you can lead, that you will lead, that you are able to lead, that you are able to make the tough calls, and that you will stand with them. A strong leader, that does not mean you have to be aggressive. That doesn't mean that you need to have a type A kind of personality to be a good leader, but it does mean that you need to be able to show strength when required and back your people and fight for what is true and real and honest and pure, okay? Your integrity is on the line, so have good boundaries, but also be a leader, okay? Don't try and shy away. Number 9, always lead by example. You have to realize that what you do and how you act set the tone for everything else and everyone else in your business. If you are a bad, irresponsible, immature, unwise, unskilled leader, then the rest of your business will likely operate that way. Okay? An organization, like a fish, rots from the top down. You want to make sure that on every level of your business, you have the right people doing the right stuff with the right integrity and healthy boundaries so that your business culture and your organization as a whole, your entrepreneurial pursuits, your clients, everything in your business remain healthy and sustainable. It's very important. Number 10. Constantly invest in your own professional development. If you grow yourself as a leader, the rest will follow. If you learn to become progressively more efficient in terms of applying wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing, it will rub off on others in your business and your entire enterprise will benefit. I cannot tell you how many times I take courses from other artists. I go and I read up on certain business strategies and I make sure I sharpen my skills as a business person, as an artist, all the time, because I have to lead by example, right? If I professionally develop myself, then I can turn around and tell a student, you know what? I'm telling you to be teachable because I am being teachable. Look at my example. I invest in my professional development, and that's why I would like to see you succeed by investing in your own, right? That is a way of having integrity. Number 11, build loyalty within. Develop your people. Train them, walk with them, back them, raise them up, provide them with opportunities, know what their ambitions are and help them. Do not view your people as a threat and then keep them down, uninformed and in the same positions for years, right? You want to promote them, acknowledge them, appreciate them, advance them, and pay them well. And I'm just going by things I practice in my own business. Okay. I'm not nearly as big of an organization as I hope to one day be, but I'm starting small. I'm starting already doing these things, even though my business is a small business at this time for the most part, because I know that if I build these things into my business now, as my organization grows and grows, my organization will be healthy. I will be applying wisdom, skills, timing, and knowledge in a good way to grow my business effectively and sustainably, right? Number 12. Last but not least, be very precise about the kinds of clients, employees, and associates you want on your journey with you. Never allow bad apples to destroy what you are building. Hire slow, fire fast, it is true. Fire clients who make your life hell. If you tolerate nonsense from clients because you're desperate for their business, that is not a position you want to be in very long. If you really are desperate and you're in a place where you need a certain client to succeed, at least for the time being, then get out of that as fast as you can, because bad clients can suck the life out of your business, okay? Don't allow one bad apple to spoil everything for everyone. It really is true. Be selective. I often say no to clients. I really do, because I know if I bring this kind of client into my business, they're going to give me endless problems. They're going to want my endless advice and attention, and they're not going to want to pay me for it. And they're going to suck up time that I really need to spend working for other clients who are not problem people for me in my business. So you have to be deliberate, and you can say no. Remember about the healthy boundaries. So with that all being said, we are quickly going to look at these 12 ways to optimally apply wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing again. I'm just going to quickly, in a summarized way, go through them again for you. Are you ready? Okay, so number 1, do not think that small beginnings and saying no to certain opportunities are bad. Start with what you have, where you are at, and create doable goals and steps for yourself to get where you ultimately want to go. Number 2, take your time. Building slow and solid is often a better way to go than building fast and flimsy. Number 3, remain steady. Remaining steady is very important. Keep going. Learn from mistakes. Constantly add to your skills and knowledge. Work on your weaknesses. Play your strengths. Know your industry and time your moves. Number 4, remember that one size never fits all. You need to know what is right for your business and do that. It may not be the same as what others in your industry are doing at the time. Number 5, whatever you do, never procrastinate. Go slower when you need to. Pace yourself, but never stand still, and avoid stagnation, because stagnation is the enemy of progress. Okay. Number 6, really know what is going on with the projects, clients, employees, associates that work in and for your business. You have to be hands-on without micromanaging people. Okay. Number 7, be genuine. Never play games. Don't make promises you cannot keep. You must have integrity. You have to care for real, and you cannot fake it. Number 8, at the same time, have healthy boundaries. Be a leader, not just a buddy. People need to know that they can rely on your leadership when they really need to. Number 9, always lead by example. What you do and how you act set the tone for everything else and everyone else in your business. Number 10, constantly invest in your own professional development. If you grow yourself as a leader, the rest will follow. Number 11, build loyalty within. Develop your people, train them, walk with them, back them, raise them up, promote them, acknowledge them, appreciate them, and pay them well. Number 12, be very precise about the kinds of clients, employees, and associates that you want on your journey with you. Be selective. Wow, that was a mouthful. So with that, we're concluding our show, episode 17 of Your Creative Force for today. Our show theme was wisdom, skills, knowledge, and timing. I hope you guys have learned a lot of things that you can apply in your own business journey. I'm going to sign off with our quote for the day, which is from Leo Tolstoy, a famous Russian author. And he said, we can know only that we know nothing. And that is the highest degree of human wisdom. See you guys next time with Your Creative Force by Avianne.
Talent is a flame. Genius, a fire. Visit us at artbyavian.com. Tune in next time as we explore your creative force. Thank you for listening.